business analysis the same for every BA practitioner? And what are the biggest tensions and contradictions between this business analysis role? I'm trying to understand that, and for that I'm talking with different business analysts from all around the world. My guest today is known for simplifying the complex, aligning moving parts, and keeping delivery focused on outcomes. A senior business analyst from India operating in Middle East where products meets technology and business value. Welcome, Rohit Thakur. Thank you for joining me.
Hola, Fabricio, and thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
It's my pleasure, Rohit. Thank you for joining me. And I would like to start by understanding your path through until business. How did you end up becoming a senior business analyst?
Okay. So, to begin with, a little bit of my educational background. I have completed my engineering in 2014, and later on, I have joined my, you can say, my first company, that is the Flextronics. So, if you know Foxconn, then you will be able to know Flex. So, it was around 2015 I have started my professional journey. Earlier 2 years, I was handling the site transitions. Means whatever the site transition would be like, starting from a kickoff call to the go live phase, and whatever the support was that, and we were handling that. So at that moment of time, I got used to the Excel work, then also a bit of VBA coding and all. And since then, my journey towards from a, you can say, a simple engineer to a senior business analyst have begun. Earlier, I have given means earlier I was working in Flextronics almost around 6.5 years. That to a different domain, that is manufacturing domains. It was like manufacturing the OEMs. But later on, I have got a chance to work for Cinecron. Cinecron is the financial service company, where in Cinecron, I have worked majoritarily for the investment banking, like HSBC and Credit Suisse. And since more than 1 year, I have got, or you can say, I'm privileged to be work or to be a part of the GCC market, where I'm working for a largest bank, that is the Saudi National Bank digital venture. So the journey was so far of the mixed, but now it is, you can say, a streamline. More and more, I'm getting the exposure to the BA roles, and I have busted some of the BA roles, or you can say a BA myths, which I was having earlier in my career.
And so you cross different industries in your path. Do you
Yeah.
see business analysis done into those different industries very differently, or are they just the same?
No, it's a bit different. Whereas in the manufacturing industry, we are mainly focused on the waterfall methodology. And since the beginning of the agile, we are trying to adapt the agile, but that is a two-way long for the agile. Whereas in the banking industry, now and then there is a lot of huge competition. So to sustain in the competition, we follow very much agile strictly. Means there are, you can say, on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, there is also a release which is there in the market, and trying to be a more competitive. So in the banking industry, I would say more agile, strict agile, I would say. Whereas in the manufacturing industry, a lenient agile as per their own fabrications or as per their own needs.
Oh, that's interesting. Usually, manufacturers have a longer cycle for releasing a new product
Exactly.
than services which are changing every day, and it makes sense that they are looking for different ways of working. And agile becomes the usual in the service and financial systems. That's what I have seen as well. And what connects both of those different markets, or those different approaches? What would you say is the value proposition of business analysis when you say, oh, we work it in different ways of working, but did you have the same value proposition? What business analysis was delivering was the same? How would you frame what's the value
Okay.
of business analysis?
Yeah, means I would say in manufacturing it is more like handling the projects, means handling the, you can say, whatever the top to bottom approach, whatever the top management decides, and then we follow this very rigidly. Whereas in the banking industry, it's like to be innovative, as much as innovative, do a research what is going on in the market, like for there is a new term, or you can say old term in the banking industry. It's a neo banks. So neo banks are totally, you can say, digital banks. They don't have a physical branches, and in that, what services we are going to provide to the customer, which the other bank is not providing, is a main differentiator. So in the agile or in the banking industry, we always have to be innovative, and I would say BA plays a very much different hats in the agile environment. Sometimes in my current role, sometimes I have to act as a project manager. Sometimes I would like to act as a SM also, in the absence of my scrum master, and then sometimes look after the UAT defects and also the release management process. So all mix of the, you can say, the genre of each and every role. And the BA has, you can say, very much evolved. Means nowadays, suppose if a job description says that 10 points are required, but the company is asking for the 12th point, which is not mentioned in the job description. So it is like having the two hidden skills which you can show, or which you can add a value in your current, or in your future job profile.
That's an interesting point, and I would like to explore this a little more. So, uh, how what's described in your job description, and what you do exactly, and let's try to bring that into examples, like you working in a day-by-day job. What are you doing as a senior BA?
Okay. So, first of all, it is totally a different thing. What is mentioned in the JD and what every BA does is totally a different thing. If you see that, if you have observed many of the JDs, for the junior BA role, they are asking SQL Python. Whereas in reality, we don't need to have a SQL knowledge. We don't need to have, rather, I would say, we don't have to be a SQL developer. We don't have to be a Python developer. It's just that we need to understand that how a system behaves. Like in the banking applications, or in any of the system, there is always a integrated systems which is required. Then we need to understand how services, or how one particular functionality is affecting a different services, or a different systems. So that is a difference between the JD and the current job application. And whenever we are into a practicality, we always have to see what values the feature is going to add it. In JD, nobody mentions that, okay, the BA has to think that what value he or she needs to add in delivering the features. In JD, it is just like, just deliver the feature on time. But in actuality, means in practicality, what values we are going to add to the feature, or what that feature is very much valuable to the customer, we have to think that. So we have to be, as I said earlier, we have to be more innovative. And as the inclination of the AI is getting more and more towards our day-to-day BA life, it is getting, you can say, more competitive. When I say AI, it doesn't mean that chatting with the chat GPT. It means that how we can reduce our time in our monotonous job, and how more effective we can deliver the feature, or how effective we can deliver the user stories to the, you can say, development team. This is how it matters the most.
Are you using some specific AI, or just generic LLMs for
No,
doing these kind of work?
to be precise, I'm using, means I personally found cloud.ai, because sometimes when I don't have any of the Figma design ready, then I specifically try to visualize it, and then try to reverse engineer it, and then try to jot down all the user stories for it, and deliver to the development team. But it is just like having a prototype in a cloud.ai.
Right.
More technicality, you can say.
Okay. Okay. So, could we say that AI is a tool that help you do your job more quickly, or enhances your productivity, but does it changes what you do? Is
No.
your job different after AI, or just being done different?
No. It doesn't change what we do. Means if I say, means as a representative of a BA community, or a business analyst, it doesn't change the way we work or what we do. though it enhances the productivity. Like for example, if I don't have any idea, if I cannot think, then at least I can tell the AI to think on behalf of me. I can read the notes, and from that I can capitalize on that idea. But it doesn't change the way we work. The way of working is similar as before, but the only thing has changed is that the more productivity, you can say, it has enhanced in our day-to-day life.
Perfect. Makes a lot of change. Uh, uh, you told me about the changes that Agile have brought to your career or your role, and now you're talking me to the changes that AI is bringing to your way of working. Do you see any other changes coming to the business analyst role into your industry or in your company?
Uh, to be specific, in my company, I won't think so. There are any changes because of the AI. It's just that my company is empowering our each and every employee to make the most of the AI, keeping in mind the confidentiality, the security perspective. But they are empowering us to use AI. They are encouraging us to use AI, because suppose if we don't have to, we as an employee are not innovative enough, then we are lagging in the competitions, and we lagging as a professional also. So it's like an encouragement to the employees to use the AI, at least to be aware of what AI does and what not.
And I understand that's not just for BAs, but for every professional.
Everyone, yep.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about the BA role. You are now a senior BA, and you told me about when HR is recruiting someone, especially junior BAs, there is a difference between what they are asking and what
Yes.
they really have to do. How do you see the difference between this junior and a senior BA? What makes a BA a senior BA and not just a junior? Is just the time that they spend in the company, or do they have different competences or different skills?
No, I don't think so. They have a different competency. It's just that the one particular BA has become senior BA because of his experience, because of his and her past failure also, and experiences also. Means if working in a different genre or working in a similar kind of the you can say domain. Whereas a junior BA has lot of capability. Means they are equipped with all the, you can say, data analysis tools and all. So there is, you can say, there is always a learning from each others. So I would say a senior BA can learn a lot from the junior BA, that is the fresh mind, the innovative mind. Whereas a junior BA can learn from a senior BA about, you can say, the calmness and handling the pressure situation or dealing with the stakeholders personally. How do we deal that? So that is a learning both way.
Eh, if I was trying to hire someone as a senior BA, what skills would I put on my list of skills to be assessed? What would be the most important ones
Okay, first
for a
one is
senior?
the, yeah. First one is the domain knowledge, whether the senior BA has worked in a particular domain or not, whether that person has a domain expertise or not. Second is the learning ability, or the learning curve, I would say. Suppose if a BA has worked more than a 10 years in a single domain, but if the time changes and if the landscape changes, whether that person is going to adapt quickly or not, that I would personally check. And third, his communication skills and also the way that person is delivering or convincing the stakeholders. That is a major point, I would say.
Perfect. And it makes sense. So the ability to learn and adapt is something that you
Yeah.
expect from a senior, more
And
than from.
then also I would like to add one point. When suppose, for God forbid, suppose if I change the company, it doesn't mean that I know everything. It means that for the new project or a new job, I have to start from a scratch. Though my previous experience would be handy in handling the situations further, but I have to keep in mind that each and every project or each and every company is unique, and I have to believe that I know the experiences, but I have to keep aside a bit of ego and start from scratch. That is the one thing I would say every BA or every senior BA has to keep in mind.
and it connects with the value proposition that you brought me, that is innovating. So you expect BAs help an organization to be innovative and be able to compete in the dynamics of the market today, which are very competitive. So starting from scratch, or trying to see things from scratch always is a nice lens for innovation.
Yes. Means at the last, we don't have to be rigid. Means suppose if anyone can give me the advice, I would definitely take it.
Interesting, interesting. Now, I know you live in India. You work for Middle East. Do you see difference on the BA role definition, or the BA job from different areas? How would you say is your reality compared to other realities you're seeing business analysts working?
Yeah, means in Middle East, mainly the BA plays a very much crucial role because that person would act as a project manager also sometimes and has to take care of the delivery from end to end. That is starting from the requirement gathering till the production go live. And even if there is an issue in the production, then he or she has to check it or at least assist in solving the production issue. Whereas in India, the you can say the scope is limited depending upon the project. We don't get any much. Means at least I have not got that end-to-end experience of delivering the features to the customer. That too, but in Middle East, it is very much competitive. So I have to be always on a toe.
And what about life of a BA outside of projects into the strategic part? Do you see that happening as well in your role, or is your role restricted to projects that have been defined by someone else and then the BA enters?
No, no, it is not like that. We have built some of the systems starting from a scratch. That is from the kickoff call and what the business needs. So we have delivered that on time, and it is still in progress. So it is not like everything is decided. Then a BA comes in and then delivers the user story. So what I have said is that, or what I have experienced is that nowadays a BA role is not limited or not restricted of just writing the user stories. So he or she has to understand the reasoning behind it, what we are trying to deliver it, and a bit of a business, not bit of business, a lot of business behind it, and then the impact on the customer which they are trying to bring. So it's like wearing, you can say, more inclined towards a business side, not just delivering or not just writing the user story, having the agile ceremonies and all. So they have to think above and beyond.
And that's when you get an opportunity to bring innovation and to suggest different
Exactly.
alternatives, different ways of doing stuff, because you understand the impact that your organization is looking for.
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I believe those were the questions I had for you. Is there something that is in your mind that like you would like to share with BAs around the globe about how BA has changed over time, and we didn't cover it yet?
Okay. One advice I would like to give, if means there is a myth that BA doesn't have to be a domain expert. So it is a myth, I would say. A BA has to be a domain expert. Why? Because if BA is not a domain expert, at least he or she doesn't understand the domain, then I would say a BA role is limited or restricted to the just technical writer role. They are just writing the user stories and delivering it. So we have to make our domain skills more than that of our regular BA skills.
That's interesting, and that forces us bringing back to a key competence you said before is the ability to learn and
Learn,
to learn
yes.
fast. Because
Adapt.
if you are in a new domain, you will have to use this ability very much. Otherwise, you won't be a good senior BA because you don't understand the domain knowledge.
Yes, exactly, Patricia.
Yeah,
That is true.
perfect.
So
Rohit,
how do
thank
you
you.
find? Okay, I have one question. So how do you find BAs in, you can say, in agile environment, in specifically in Latin America? How, which kind of the market they are mainly targeting?
Well, so I would say very much on services part, as you mentioned. So I believe the service organizations like bankings, insurance, what I have been seeing here, Agile has become the norm. It's almost all those organizations are using more Agile than any other thing. In Brazil, Agile is a huge stuff, so almost every organization is trying to do Agile. In the industry, for manufacturer, not so much. I believe that relates to the way the business are, like building a new product takes longer, and it's risky. So the traditional waterfall approach fits well for those kind of companies.
Yes. For healthcare also, I would say.
Yeah, and I don't see a lot of difference between what you said. I believe India and Brazil are not so far away
Yes,
as
exactly.
as they may think.
Yes,
Thank you,
that is true.
Rohit. It was a pleasure to have you here. If someone who's watching us wants to get in touch with you, how can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn because I'm very much active on LinkedIn. They have means I'm also a member of Agile community in India, and also active member of a BA group, which is led by Thea Soren, and also Fabrizio, you're also a part of it. So we are
The
everywhere,
BA
like
Force
the force
Multipliers.
multiplier. Yes, exactly.
Nice. So thank you very much for joining. If you liked this episode, check out the other episodes that are online. I have been posting this weekly on my newsletter, and I'm glad to be talking to Rohit. Thank you very much, Rohit. I hope
Thank
to
you,
see you
Fabrizio.
again.
Pleasure is mine. Yes.